For more problems and videos like this for linear algebra, you can take a look at Sarai Studies. Link is in the description box below. In this video, I'm going to show you how to go from a system of equations to a matrix. So we have two different types of matrices. We have a coefficient matrix and an augmented matrix. Let's actually show you what they look like with an example. So here's our first system of equations. What you want to do is you want to fill out the coefficients and the missing variables. So even though there is no x1 in this one, we can represent that as 0x1 because there is 0 of x1, and then here there's a 1 there. So the first thing you should notice is that this is unlike what you learned in where your variables were like x and y. Now we just use the same letter. We just say 1 and 2 and 3 to represent the third different variables. Now what you want to do is highlight your coefficients and then copy them to your coefficient matrix. So that's going to be 1, 0, and 2, 3. That's it. That's your coefficient matrix. It's literally a matrix, a box with your coefficients inside. And then the only difference between coefficient and augmented matrix is that you're just adding these numbers. So augmented matrix is literally you taking this and then putting a line and then adding these numbers. Now what about this one? Again, fill out what you don't have. So here there's a 0x1 and I see all of my coefficients. So I'm going to highlight them. I have 5, 0, 2, -2, -3, and 4. So now I'm going to put them here. So 2, -2, -3, and 4, and that's my coefficient matrix. And then my augmented matrix is literally my coefficient matrix, but you draw a line and then you just add your ending values. What about this one? Again, fill out your missing values. I don't see an x1 here, so this is 0x1 plus. Here I'm missing a 1. Highlight your coefficients. So here we have this. Remember, we do include the signs of the coefficients. Then we have this. Then we have this. And then your augmented matrix is literally your coefficient matrix, but you draw a line and then you just add your ending values. Now what about this one? Again, here I'm missing a 0x1. Here there's a 0x2. So here I have a 2, 0. Then I have a 0, 2. Then I have a 3, 4. And then your augmented matrix is your coefficient matrix, but you add a line and you add your ending values, 1, 5. And that's it. That's how you go from a system of equations to a coefficient matrix and an augmented matrix. Now let's go over some vocabulary. The way that we define a matrix is by writing our little matrix brackets, and then we say matrix A of B, as in these values we call our A values, and these values we call our B values. That translates to these being our A values and these being our B values, which is why our notation for a matrix is like this. We can also call this matrix, the whole thing, A. So this is matrix A, this is matrix A, and so on. And then these are the dimensions of a matrix. It just tells you the number of rows and the number of columns that there are. So this means that this is a 2 by 3 matrix, meaning there's 2 rows, 1 row, 2 rows, and there's also 3 columns. So 1, 2, 3 columns. So that is the way that we denote this matrix over here. Now, every single thing you see in a matrix, we call that an entry. So this is an entry, this is an entry, this is an entry, and so are these. Now, a leading entry is the first non-zero entry you see in a row. So you start here and you go, and then as soon as you see something, you ask yourself, is it a 0? No. So this is the first non-zero entry you see in a row. And before we go, here's a little bit more notation because you might see this. One way to identify specific entries is by using A, I, J, where I is the number of rows and J is the number of columns. So for example, this entry is A, 1, 1 because it's the first row and first column. But what if I want to do this entry? Well, this entry is in the second row, so it'd be A, 2, right, row, and then the column it's in is the first column, so it's going to be 2, 1. And then to represent this one, well, this is in the first row, so it's going to be A, 1, but it's in the second column, 2. And to represent this one, this would be A, second row, so 2, second column, 2. To represent this one, this is in the first row, and then what's the column? It's 1, 2, 3, the third column. And this one would be A, second row, but it's in the third column, so A, 2, 3. So that's something you might see, and that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next.